Good afternoon. I'm Pamela Ashton, and I'm very happy to be here at the Kitchener Blues Festival with Harry Manx. Hi, Harry.
How you doing, Pam? Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for being here today. I understand right now Vancouver is home. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I'm out there on the wet coast, and it's pretty nice out there.
And you've done a fair bit of traveling. I had a chance to read a little bit of background information on your bio, and I understand you did sound in the clubs in Toronto while you were a very young man, and then you spent some time in Europe busking. And that's when you went pro, and you've never looked back.
That's right. I was a busker for many years. It was great education playing on the street. You can do what you like, and you get paid for it. And the better you are, the better you get paid. But yeah, I've been on the musical journey for a long time. When I was a kid, I started as a roadie at 15. I worked for some great Ontario bands, Crowbar, did a tour with Rush, a whole bunch of different bands. And that's when I got interested in not only in the music, but in gear and sound too, that whole story basically.
And blues, that was your first love musically?
Yeah. In the 70s, we had a lot of really active blues clubs in Toronto. You go down Yonge Street to the Lecoq door, you could see Buddy Guy, Junior Wells playing. But I worked at the El Macombo upstairs. I was the sound guy there for a while. And we had great acts there. We had all of them. We had Muddy, we had Willie Dixon, we had Stevie Ray Vaughan played there, the whole bunch of them.
Beautiful. So you were entrenched in it and something moved you and you started. When did you start playing guitar?
Well, I started about 15. And I messed around with it till I was like 19, 20. Then I became a street musician over in Europe. And, I just played simple songs of Bob Marley, Bob Dylan, all the Bobs, I played them. And, I messed around in the guitar. There was a point in my life where I decided that I really wanted to play better. And I had to, step up my game. And that was later on in my life, actually, when I was living in India. I lived in India about 12 years, and I didn't have much to do, so I practiced a lot. And those were the years that I stepped up my playing.
And if I could stop you right there, what was the drive? What made you decide one day, yep, I got to step this up. I'm no longer satisfied at this level. Do you recall a certain event or a certain moment that you had that eureka, I'm getting better?
Yeah, actually I do. I was doing a kind of a course, a kind of motivational course just for fun, to see how this whole thing works. And the lady there was talking about, well, you get your goal and then you just have to visualize all the things that between you and that goal, So I was thinking, well, what would my goal be? Well, I'd like to be a bit better player. So then I realized, okay, if I did every day, a couple hours, I'd get good in this time. So I decided to do like 4 or 5 hours a day, and I did that for 5 years, and that worked.
I also read an interesting story. It seems that humor is part of your ambience, your energy. There's a lightness and there's a joyfulness, and I read a story about you rehearsing with your tutor and his family, jamming at night after having one of those 4-hour rehearsals. You just and you sneaking a little bit of blues in there, and them finding that kind of funny. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, for Indian musicians, classical music is a pretty serious affair, and we studied, with that in mind. But at night we used to sort of loosen up and just jam, and we'd play jam on Bollywood tunes, or they would play grooves, and that's when I would play a little blues, and they found that really funny, that sort of inject that into their Indian music, and they loved the sound of it, and it was also very strange and foreign sound to them. But in a way, that was the sort of I had a real epiphany in that moment, because I thought, well, if these guys are digging this blues, maybe in the West they'll dig a little Indian music too, mixed in with the blues. And that's when I started to think about, bringing those two styles together. But what it takes is having a good understanding of blues and having a good understanding of Indian music, that's when you start to be able to find out where the common ground is.
And it seems it's so fluid and it's so natural. It's so original listening to you play. And it reaches out. I mean, it must be an incredible feeling to be able to bridge cultures, bridge languages and in music and make people feel something, whether or not they understand the words that are coming out.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. Well, all those things, there's kind of like the fringe benefits, you know. What I started out really was following my passion, you know. I loved the blues, and then when I heard Indian music, I heard a depth and a sound that the blues didn't go to, so I got into the Indian music. So I'm just sort of following my path, and I'm glad that it's working for folks. You never know, you know. You do what you do, and you put it out there, and you hope some of it sticks.
Well, I think it's sticking quite well. 6 Juno nominations. You've done 9 records in 8 years. You're sitting with a beautiful Veena. Can you walk us around this instrument a little, perhaps?
What we got here, basically, is there's 2 layers of strings. There's the top layer, but there's also a lower layer. Now, when I play the top ones, the bottom ones sing by themselves because they're in tune. And I tune those bottom ones here, and I tune it to the particular scale of the song we're going to play, whatever song that is. So it's really, the string arrangement is the same as the sitar. There's 5 chikaris. There's our context, and there's 3 strings to play on. 2 Ds and an A, which basically there's, you know, I'm basically playing on 2 strings because 2 of them are tuned the same out of the 3. So it's not easy to play chords on this instrument. It's made for monotone scales and playing in 1 key only. But it is possible. I hint at chords, and I play tunes with chords on this, but it's not easy, really. It has its limits.
I'm sure tuning it is an epic journey also.
Yeah. Well, you'd spend the first year or so of playing this, just learning how to tune it. I'm in major, okay.
It's amazing. It sounds so bright.
Yes, it has 21 strings in total, and I can tune it when I want to change it from major to minor. I change the 7th and the 3rd for all you guitar heads. Take it down to minor. There we go.
Beautiful, beautiful. Now, you had 3 of these built, and you currently have 1 left?
Well, actually, I had 5 made, and I've got 2 left, but close enough. Yeah, you know, you find people that just need one, and I found some people that needed one, and they got it, and my brother weaseled one out of me.
Now, how does this stand up touring? Is it a fragile instrument? Is it what's the word I'm looking for? Susceptible to weather and humidity?
Oh no, it's not bad. You know, it's made from pretty cheap materials. Actually, it's made in India, handmade, without any electric tools whatsoever. No electric drills or saws. It's all handmade. It's made out of plywood. It's pretty strong. The main thing is, though, you got to have a good case. I've got a fiberglass case that I've had for 10 years, and it's got some nicks on it, but it's really protected it well. And yeah, if you got a good case, you can fly it around. It's not a problem. I just put new tuning heads on the whole thing. I got those go-to tuning heads. They have a really great tuning ratio. Like, you can get right in there and fine-tune it, and it really holds the note. Those are a real treat. Got them from Japan. They got ebony on top. And I just had this pickup put in, and I had to suspend it between the two layers of strings, below there and the top. So I built a little a bridge for it, and I sort of hung it between the two strings. And that's one of those new National pickups, a slimline, and it sounds great. It's got a real good tone, and it picks up underneath and above, so it gets the two sets of strings there. That's really key to getting a good sound, a good pickup. I run this through API preamp and the API graphic EQ, which I have on the stage to tweak it a little bit. The preamp is so key to getting a good sound, on the stage. I use a couple of TC pedals for verb and delay. Not too much, just to give a little color, to make it a little wet. And that's about it, pretty much. I don't use any amplifiers. I go straight into the PA system and let them send it back into monitors. Yeah, it's easier for touring, no amp. You just plug and play. And yeah, that's about it. It's quite a beast. It's hard to play in many ways, but it's got a great sound, and once you get it going, it's got an amazing depth to it.
And this is your go-to instrument. This is your primary.
Yeah, this is the one I really like to play the most, though I play a lap steel and a banjo and a National and a cigar box, all that stuff. But this is the one that I really, when I'm going to go at home somewhere and sit and play quietly, this is the one I take, and I love it.
In terms of technology, has technology affected your playing, your writing, the way you record?
Totally. My last album, I pretty much I wrote the tunes, and then on my phone, I recorded them on my phone, and then I emailed them to a friend who was in the studio, and he set up the tracks, and we basically did the album, got the album all prepared with the phone. I found the studio with my navigator, it's like, that phone made my whole last record. I had all the words in there. I wrote a lot of the words on the phone, when I was traveling.
And how does a song come to you? Is it usually the same? Is it melody first, lyrics later? How does that seed germinate for Harry Manx?
Well, I write words, and then I write music, very separate. And my computer, I write poetry, and I look at ideas, and then I try to find those right words for the right song, and I put them together. And that happens mostly on the road, while I'm moving around. I write most of those tunes. I'm just working on, last week I recorded what will be my 12th record in 12 years. And it's got some nice tunes on there, including a song which I put on a record with Kevin Bright called Carry My Tears, and that one got me nominated for Songwriter of the Year this year. So,
congratulations, that's awesome.
Yeah, so I put that song on, the new one too.
And when can we expect that to hit stores?
That'll come out in the fall of 2012. Yeah, it should be good.
And what's your touring schedule like going forward?
Well, I'm here today, gone tomorrow, to Quebec. I'm off to do a tour in Quebec, about 20 shows around there. Then I think I'm going to Europe. I've got some Europe stuff coming up. I just came back from Australia. I was 3 months in Australia, so long tour there. This is my rest time. I only work weekends, so
it's rest time when you're only working on weekends and working on another record. Yeah. There is no rest for Harry.
No, man. You know, I put my first, here's something for all you young guitar players. I put my first record out, my first CD, when I was 46. So, you know, you don't want to be rushing into it. I'm 57 now, and it's all good. So,
And there's a ton more music to come out of Mr. Manx, isn't there?
still got a couple more albums in me.
We're looking so forward to watching you play this afternoon, and so very grateful that you came to sit with us today. Really appreciate it.